Sergio Perez wins the sprint race for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and it was a mixed race, to be honest with you, on this one. Not sure really what to make of it. Right off the start, we got a brilliant start from Charles Leclerc off into first place. Decent start from Sergio Perez. It was Max Verstappen actually though that made a really poor start, to be honest with you. Lost out to George Russell. He got alongside him. They had a little bit of a battle. Verstappen really not happy because on the third or fourth turn, Russell really didn't leave too much of a gap. He got a bit of a contact, there's a nasty little gash in his rear engine cover, which probably was what made him suffer later on in the race, struggling to catch up to Charles Leclerc to try and get that second place off him. But yeah, it was Russell that made it up into third place, made the move on Verstappen at the start. Alonso crucially got past Alex Albon at the start also for his race. And then it sort of just steadied out, and then on lap 2 we had the incident with Yuki Tsunoda, lost it, understeered and hit the wall. That caused the red safety car. He toured around, and strangely they brought him in and then sent him back out with still a broken suspension, so I'm not sure what they were doing. That caused the safety car to sort of stay out one more lap. But other than that, it was a steady pretty much race from there. On the restart, it was Max Verstappen who made a brilliant pass on George Russell, got the run on him. They're just so much faster down the straight, the Red Bull, than the Mercedes. Made it up a nice pass into the first corner on the restart. It was Alonso also that made a good move on Hamilton at the restart. Sent him further backwards into 7th place, Lewis Hamilton, at that stage. And that was pretty much the overtaking done at the start of the Grand Prix from there. Yeah, and then as the race steadied out, it was a nice move from Sergio Perez, really closed up on Charles Leclerc. It was a sitting duck, to be honest with you. As soon as that DRS opens on that Red Bull, there's nothing anybody can do. I mean, Ferrari have been quite good down the straight as well. But it was just such an easy move with the DRS. Perez got past Charles Leclerc, and that was it, to be honest with you. He was safe ahead, comfortable. He managed his tyres well. Leclerc towards the middle to end of the race, it was a short 17-lap race, but about lap 13, 14, he looked like he might get back in the DRS zone of Perez, but then Perez just managed his tyres well at that early save and just dropped him. He was about 3 or 4 seconds clear at the end. Leclerc did really quite well after that though then, because it looked like it would just be a matter of time for Max Verstappen to close up and get in the DRS, and as soon as he'd got in that DRS, it looked like it would be easy meat for him. But Leclerc did well. He stayed in the DRS zone as long as he could for Perez, as the tyres were sort of fresh and where probably Max would have had most of his advantage. He then, once he got dropped out of the DRS of Perez, he did really quite well to hold Max Verstappen back. He got into the DRS a couple of times, but he was still about 8 or 9 tenths behind was Max Verstappen. Couldn't really close in to get like within half a second of him and then make pressure count, which was a bit odd. I don't know if it was the damage that Verstappen suffered that sort of helped Leclerc out there a little bit, but it would appear so given how easy it was for Sergio Perez to close up and make the pass under the DRS of the Ferrari. I imagine it'll be a different scenario in the race tomorrow. But yeah, he held him off well, and Verstappen was steady in 3rd place. 4th place, George Russell had a race of his own, to be honest with you. Couldn't make any impression on 3rd place Verstappen once he got past in the restart, and that was him there. Lewis Hamilton in the other Mercedes got passed by Alonso, and that was his race done. Couldn't get in the DRS zone. It seemed quite a problem throughout the grid, to be honest. None of them could really get into the zone of being within a second of the car in front. They were just there or thereabouts, so like 1.2, 1.3. Just couldn't get close enough. So I don't know if it was just because of the way the tight street circuit was. They couldn't close that gap enough to then make the move, get the DRS open and attack. And it seemed that way all the way throughout the field. There was a good battle towards the back of the grid though, but it was a pretty boring sprint race, to be honest with you. I just feel like, what was the point of that? I think the qualifying yesterday was better, but yeah, there we are. But yeah, going through the teams, Max Verstappen, a third place, really disappointing for him. Perez wins the sprint race. Ferrari, Charles Leclerc, he'll be happy for second place. Hopefully he'll learn a lot and then maybe he can make attack. Well, he'll start from first again tomorrow, so hopefully he can keep that pace or that position for longer tomorrow. But with Max Verstappen behind and a car that will be fixed, I'm sure he'll make the move early. But he did struggle today, so you just never know. And he was poor off the start, so he'd probably want to fix that tomorrow, won't he, Max Verstappen? But yes, P2 for Leclerc. It was a pretty solid race from him, to be honest. I'll be quite happy with that, even though he didn't win. But I think he's probably expecting to go further back behind the Red Bulls, especially given where they've been at the start of this season. Carlos Sainz got a good start, but then just didn't really make any impact on the race whatsoever, did Carlos Sainz. Steady, started fifth, finished in fifth. Lewis Hamilton, as I said, he started sixth, then dropped down to behind Alonso on the safety on the restart after the safety car. He got passed by Alonso, which was a great move by Alonso, to be honest with you, and that was it. He again couldn't close in on Alonso and stayed behind him. George Russell, really good start from the race, passed Verstappen, but then once he got past on the restart, he dropped back and he was sort of in no man's zone. Finished fourth, started fourth as well for George Russell. The Aston Martin of Alonso started in P8. He did a great job to get past Alex Albon right on the start, and then made the move on Lewis Hamilton. The big mover really, he made up 2 places at the front, did Fernando Alonso, and great finish for him in the end. Lance Stroll, he started in P9, he finished in 8th place. He made a nice move on Alex Albon, but then again, that's where he finished. Couldn't make any further impact on that. Lando Norris will be massively disappointed. He took the gamble and started on the softs, along with Bottas, the only 2 that do that, and that really didn't work out at all. He just went backwards as soon as the tyres dropped off, and then finished in 17th. Be really disappointed. He pitted on lap 10 for softs again, but he had a really slow pit stop as well. It just went backwards for him. Oscar Piastri started 11th, finished in P10. He made a nice move on Norris into P10 from 11th from where he started, but then just couldn't get any closer to Alex Albon. But a decent race for him. It's to be disappointed he's not got further up the field. To the Alpines, and Gasly, he started in P17, moved up the field into P13. He had a little battle with Zhou, but couldn't get close enough to make a move on Zhou Guanyu, who did well in the race to keep that position. Ocon struggled. He started from the pits. He ran in P13 with a battle with Zhou. He just struggled. Pitted for the softs, that didn't work. But he finished in P18, did Ocon. Really poor race for him. On to the Haas. They started in P13, finished 11th for K-Mag. Solid race, just couldn't make any impact on Piastri. Hulkenberg again started well in 12th, but then just went backwards. He dropped to P14. I think he had an issue about lap 14. Not really sure what that was. He lost about 5 seconds on a lap, so I don't know if he just ran really wide or what his problem was, or he's had some sort of issue where he dropped back, and then finished in P15, so a disappointing race for the Hulk. Alpha Tauris, Nick De Vries had a solid race, actually had a poor weekend all weekend up to now. He started in P18, he made a nice move on Bottas, he finished in P14, so a good race for him, so build up some confidence in for the race tomorrow. Yuki Tsunoda, like I said, he went out on lap 2, a strange accident for him, overstayed and hit the wall. But yeah, there we go. Alex Albon started in P7 and I think he was running in P8. Looked like he was on for the point finally for Williams, but sadly got past, finished in P9. But hopefully they'll be hoping for running the points tomorrow. But let's see how that one pans out for him. And Logan Sargent didn't start after his crash in the shootout. Car couldn't get the car ready in time. But there we have it. So we've had sort of a warm up to the race day tomorrow. Let me know your thoughts on that sprint race. For me, I think it was actually one of the most boring ones I've seen for a while, to be honest. There was a little bit of excitement with Russell and Verstappen early doors. But then it was kind of what you'd expect, especially with the Red Bull making the easy move from Perez on Leclerc. And after that, nothing happened. They just sort of had a bit of a DRS train, but not a DRS train as well, almost. They just couldn't get close enough. And we've had better racing here at Baku than what we've seen in the sprint. I was kind of confident to see we would have more of that overtaking. A lot more drivers in the DRS, but they just couldn't get into that 1 second zone, which is a little bit interesting here. But let's see what happens in the race tomorrow. We'll have obviously more stop, different strategies. Let's see how it pans out. But it looked like we might be on a 2-stop tomorrow because the teams were really struggling on the tyres. I don't think anyone will be using the softs tomorrow after looking what happened with Norris. But yeah, let's see what happens tomorrow. Thanks for watching. I'll see you for the race tomorrow. Please like, subscribe and comment as always. See you tomorrow.